Welcome to the Wellness for Women show, where we talk about life, weight loss and everything in between. I'm Faye, founder of the AAA Way Life and Weight Loss Programme, and I'm here to help you put together the pieces of life and weight loss for one last time. This is an episode of the Wellness for Women show, filmed live in the free Facebook group. Hello everybody. We have got Bonnie Hardie joining us today. I'm joined by Bonnie and she is an empowerment coach. So welcome, Bonnie.
Welcome, Faye. Thank you very much. I'm lovely to be here and I'm coming to you live from beautiful but chilly Central Florida, USA.
Absolutely. We were having a little chit chat a minute ago with regards to the many time zones and how it can be interesting when you're trying to get together with people and trying to get our heads around the time zones, especially if anybody catches this from Australia. We were just talking about the massive differences in time there. So hopefully, well, I imagine that people won't be catching us live from Australia, but hopefully they'll catch us on the replay or on the podcast or YouTube when it goes out. So, Bonnie, tell us a little bit more about you. Everybody wants to know about you. They know about me.
Okay, well, as you can tell from my accent, like I said, I am from the United States. I live in beautiful Central Florida. I am a women's empowerment coach and the owner of Rock Solid Women's Empowerment Coaching. What I do is I empower midlife women to say bon voyage, the shackles in their mind, so they can live their best life and reclaim their joy and passion. I also am a vision board expert, and I uniquely combine a vision board and the wheel of life, and I code the wheel of life. So I help people to decide what it is they want with their life, what their goals are, what their why is, and what they need to do to get to reach their goals and just live the life that they want to live.
Yeah, beautiful. And there's a lot of key things in there that, again, we were having a little chit chat before, and Bonnie and I have had a conversation before as well. So we do know each other a little bit. We've been around each other's worlds for a while. But yeah, it's so important for us to work on ourselves, to figure out what it is that we want to do, where we want to go. So what kind of led to you getting into this work, Bonnie? What led to you deciding to become an empowerment coach for women?
Well, I am my own best client. So I need to empower myself and I want to empower others. I recently revamped my business. I was a mindset, life, and gratitude coach. And now, as a women's empowerment coach, I have an emphasis on mindset, personal development, gratitude, and just reframing negatives into positives. So I want you to be like a phoenix rising. I want you to reclaim your joy and passion. I want you to restore your happiness, because a lot of people, they get to be my age, and I'm 59 years old, and maybe you're a widower, a divorcee, your kids are grown up and moved on, and you're like, where's my identity? What is there left for me to do in my life? I like to use my mom as an example, who is a great grandmother to a beautiful 4-year-old. And sometimes I don't even know where my mom is, because she and her boyfriend have an RV and they travel around the United States. They've gone to like all 50 states. Well, not all 50. I don't think they've been to Alaska or Hawaii, but all that. But she is just, doing what she wants, with her life. And she's just living it. And you need to decide what it is you want to do with your life. What is going to make you happy? And, you know, I show people how to say bon voyage, the shackles in your mind. It's like, don't always worry about what people are going to think about what you're doing. Do what makes you happy. Because sometimes maybe you were 10 years old and somebody said, oh, you can't sing, you can't dance. So now you're afraid to go to karaoke and sing. Well, if you see those people on American Idol and Britain's Got Talent and stuff, some of those people can't sing, but they're still having fun. So, get out and do what you want, that makes you happy. You know, don't be just not wanting to do anything. Just, be happy. If you want to travel, travel. You want to read books. Just go out and empower yourself to live your best life, so you wake up every day and you're ready to rock and roll, and you're ready to reach out and help others, and pull others up and make other people happy. I challenge people every day to compliment like 5 or 10 people a day, to check in on their friends and just, be happy. It's almost Christmas time, even though it's really cold, much colder in Florida than normal. It's still Christmas time coming up in a few days. So, be happy and be merry and be bright and all that kind of stuff. All those songs that they sing.
Yeah. Yeah, and joy is a big part of my message as well. I mean, I say that people know my story, but I guess it depends on where when they're catching the podcast. This might be the first one that they ever catch, but joy is a big part of my message as well. Certainly from a weight loss with love point of view, the love with love part is so important because we have tried methods that stripped the joy from us over the years, and then like you said, we can lose our identities along the way, and that was certainly my story. That was my journey, that I feel like I was in a fog until I hit 40, had a mini midlife crisis almost on my 40th birthday, and that's how I got into doing what I do. As I started my own weight loss journey, and just like what you were saying there, look to say, well, what is it that I actually want? I'd kind of got that long in the tooth without asking, and I think
Right.
asking myself, and I think what's really important, and I would imagine that your mum's a case in point for this again as well, is that you're never too old, are you? You're never too young, and you're never too old to start, because say you've got this one life, isn't it? And it's about trying to make the most of that with the resources and the tools that you've got. I assume that you agree with that.
Yes, most definitely. And you know, like on the gravestone where it says you're born in 1900, you died in 1995. What did you do with that dash? What did you do
Hmm.
in between? When you
Mm,
pass away, what do you want your legacy to be? What do you want people to remember about you? And
mm,
did you impact enough people in the world? And
mm,
sometimes it sounds trite. People say, "What do you want to do?" I just really want people to be happy, not always complaining about stuff. There's
mm,
always going to be something to complain about, but there's always going to be something beautiful. And there's always going to be people having it worse off than you. So
mhm,
don't concentrate on your negatives. Work think about all your positives, and as much as possible, try to reframe your negatives into positives, and just try. Nobody's going to be happy about stuff all the time. Even though I do work on mindset, sometimes my mindset isn't the best, but that
mhm.
doesn't mean I'm not a good mindset coach.
Yeah.
That means sometimes you need to reach out to other people, and I have people that I can reach out to. So it's like just try to be as happy as you can and try to just make the world smile. I'd say smile at 100 people a day and see how
Mm,
many smiles you get back. I guarantee you'll get at least 50 back if you smile at 100, probably like 75 at least hopefully, right?
yeah. Yeah, and I think as well, like say, even as coaches, even as coaches, we need coaches sometimes, but
Right.
also, like I say, that I think that's something to be mindful of, because sometimes when you're on social media and everybody does sort of portray the positives, they never portray the negatives, or like, come to coaching and it will cure everything.
Mm,
We're not miracle workers, and you don't suddenly wake up one day, even when you've done all this work, and suddenly find that all of negative thoughts disappear. You never have a negative thought again. That's not life. We are
right.
human beings. We're not robots at the end of the day. But certainly the work that you do and I do, it is about changing the dials, isn't it? So that we,
Right.
we're having more towards the neutrals and the positives. Because again, it's not necessarily even always about the positives, is it? It's about just sort of moving away from the negatives. Because at the end of the day, we also know that the more negativity we have, the more we see, isn't it? It's that whole law of attraction side, really, that what we focus on is what we get more of.
Right, for sure. And if you're going to be sitting in the corner sulking and being a negative Nelly,
Hmm.
nobody's going to want to be your friend. Nobody's going to want to help you, support you. But then now you're going to complain that you have no friends. So you
Yeah.
need to kind of switch that up and just start. I see people all the time that are, in different difficult positions. And I say, just don't be expecting stuff from people all the time. Do stuff for your own, and don't always think people need to help you out. People
Mm,
aren't going to help you out unless they see you're trying to help yourself you
mm,
know so do stuff for yourself, and people will be willing to help you. And if they see you're being positive, that's a good sign, because I don't want to be spending all day long talking to people who are always complaining. It's like there's
mhm.
got to be something going on good in your world. You did wake up this morning. You might not have woken up in a nice bed.
It doesn't take
you
a
know
lot to just shift things about a little bit. I mean, so for
yeah.
example, I don't have a to-do list. I have a to-da list, so that at the end
Right.
of when I've done it, I can go to-da, and it just brightens me up when I think
Yeah.
about having, whatever it is on that to-da list. Just calling it a to-da list makes it brighter. likewise, instead of having a to-do list, you can have a done list, so that again,
Right.
there's always ways of making things, like you say, that finding the joy in something, isn't it? I always think of Mary Poppins, in and
Mm.
the song, with every work that is to be done, you can have an element of fun, and then it's a game.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Make it a game, and
Mm,
I tell people, hey, reach out to a bunch of people that you don't even talk to on a regular basis, see how they're doing. You'd be
mm,
amazed at what's going on in people's lives, and I understand it. People are busy, stuff's going on, but
mhm.
just kind of see what's going on in other people's lives, what they're doing for Christmas, what they're doing for New Year's,
Yeah.
and you'll find out a lot of stuff about people that you might not really find out about unless you reach out to them. That's for sure.
Mm. Yeah, and connection is so important, no matter what time of year. But I think even more so in the winter, when we've got sort of the darker, colder times, and the mood.
Yeah.
'Cause I think most of us will find that our moods get affected a little bit. We start to want to hibernate, and perhaps not. It's that it's that funny time of
Mhm.
year where we perhaps want to hibernate and not really do much, but yet there's all these social activities. And again, it's that
Mhm.
change in routine that can happen throughout the seasons, whether it be because of the weather, or the daylight hours, or the fact that we've got extra stresses and strains around Christmas. And so it's about having that awareness of ourselves, isn't it, really, and seeing what's coming up for ourselves, but then, like I say, connecting in with others, because sometimes we can sit there and think that we're the only ones experiencing something, whereas actually when you reach out, you realize you're not alone,
Yeah.
isn't
Right, definitely. There's going to be other people that are experiencing, the same thing you are. Maybe you're not spending time with your family,
it?
but
Hmm.
that's okay. You can
Hmm.
spend time with strangers, and you never know. The strangers could become friends and family. So you start a whole new tradition with perfect strangers and stuff. I personally myself don't know what I'm doing on Christmas Day, but I'm trying. I'm kind of eager to see, see what happens on Christmas Day. So my original plans kind of fell through. So
Hmm.
I had to make scramble and make different plans. I don't know what's going to happen, but
Mm.
I'll see what happens on Christmas Day in a few days.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing that I always love about you when I see your posts. You very much are figure it out. I am figuring it out. I'm trying to figure it out, and I will figure it out.
Yes, I got a lot of things to figure out. You know my story, Finn. I don't mind. I don't mind talking about it. We can mention if you want. I am
Yeah.
homeless right now, and I am working on getting out of being homeless and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And I do sleep on concrete every night,
Hmm.
so I don't get a lot of sleep at night because I'm very close to a hospital. There's a lot of traffic going by.
Hmm.
However, I changed that into a positive where I'm outside at night, but I am getting fresh air. I get to look at the moon and stars, and I get to learn about astronomy. And
Hmm.
now I can recognize the different sirens of if it's the police car coming through, if it's the ambulance coming through, even the
Hmm.
different trucks, if it's the dump truck, if it's the gas truck. I
Yeah.
can recognize that. I try not to wake up too many times a night, but sometimes, it
Mm.
happens.
Yeah. Well, I guess that almost becomes your. I say it becomes so normal for you that almost, like you say, you sleep through them, because it's almost just like background noise that you're used to all the time, maybe, as well. So
Yeah, yeah. I would like to have some quiet, but
yes, of
for
course.
right now, that I might not know what to do with. If I had actual quiet, I'd be like, "What's going
Yeah,
on?"
there is
But
everything.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I am making the best of the bad situation. But I'm telling people, hey,
Hmm.
what's your excuse if I'm going through a whole lot of crazy things, but I'm still showing up,
Mm.
being online, letting people know. And I
Hmm.
know, very soon stuff's going to be a lot different for me, but it's been a lot of work in the
Mm.
background to, get to this point, a lot of work on my own mindset. That's
Mm.
why I call myself the mindset mentor and the gratitude guru, because I've done a lot of work on myself
Yeah.
to be able to get to this point, to
Hmm.
smile and still, help people out and reach out to other people.
Yeah, yeah. And you reached out to me the other day just to check in and say, "Hey, how are you?" And that meant a lot, because not everybody does do that, and it actually then had a ripple effect, really, because then I was thinking about somebody that I hadn't connected with for a little while, and I couldn't stop thinking about them today for some reason, and I reached out because I suddenly thought, well, what if you're having this for a reason? I'm not.
Right.
I wouldn't call myself intuitive or spiritual in that sense, but I was like, well, what if she actually did need somebody, and I was not reaching out. So it had a little ripple effect on me, and that's the thing with what we do, isn't
Oh,
it? It's about trying to create those ripples, and and that's through connection as well.
most definitely. You help one person, they help one person, they help one person, and it
Mhm.
goes on to the whole world. Most
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, yeah. And like I say, it doesn't, and if you look at these things like that ripple effect, working on, because it does all start with ourselves. We were going to predominantly talk about self-development today, and nothing will change if we don't work on ourselves. At the end of the day, everything begins and ends with us, doesn't it?
Right. You have to realize that, you're an important person, you're
Mhm.
worth it. There's people in different, economic systems, and it's because one person has more money than somebody else, or somebody has a nicer house than somebody else.
Mhm.
I myself have freedom to be able to move around and stuff like that. If I get enough money to
Mhm.
go stay at Airbnb or a
Mhm.
hotel or something, I have the freedom to do that. Some people are like, oh, I'm stuck in this house for the next 50 years. I really want to be able to travel around. So
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
good for the goose is good for the gander too. What works for each person works for, you the best. And you just decide what's going to work for you the best in your situation and in your lifestyle.
Mm. Yeah, and I did a course once where he always said about finding the gift and the gift in everything that you do, because there will be one, even in literally, like you say, the darkest times that you could
Right.
feel like that sometimes that there will be a gift. You may not see it immediately, but there will be a gift. And you see this with a lot of motivational speakers, isn't it? That they've come through some kind of difficulty or hardship. And I think with yourself, as much as obviously I wish that your situation was different for you, I've got no control over that, but I do think that it gives you your tenacity and your gift for still wanting to help people and everything like that is something that is your gift to then to pass on, isn't it? That's the way I always look at it. Every time I see your post, it makes me think that that you're using your situation for good as best you can do. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes
Yes,
sense.
I'm trying to use myself as an example and
Mm,
say, I know it's going rough for me.
mm-hmm.
And, people say, well, don't say you're homeless online because that doesn't look professional. But it's like, I want to be real, and
Yeah,
there's bad stuff that happens and there's good stuff that happens. So,
yeah.
I want to be real and authentic and let people know, what's going on in my life. The reason that the name of my business is Rock Solid Women's Empowerment Coaching is because I use the term rock bottom to rock solid a lot. I know you've
Mm,
seen that
mm-hmm.
because right now I'm at rock bottom, but I'm pretty soon going to be at rock solid.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you remember the when you're going good, you remember the bad times, how much the struggle was. And
Mm,
sometimes you have to have struggle in order to appreciate, good stuff. It's like your
yeah.
bed might be kind of lumpy and stuff like that, but at
Mm,
least you have a bed to sleep in. Why don't you sleep outside on concrete a couple of times and see how your body feels? And I'm 59 now, so my body's not feeling too good when I'm sleeping on concrete. So, but it's like you have to have the bad to have the good, and once
mm-hmm.
you appreciate what you have,
Mm.
you're gonna appreciate the stuff more.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's a lot of times with people who aren't in your situation don't necessarily appreciate that, is it? We can moan about the fact that something relatively minor or trivial's happened, whereas actually when you think about it in the grand scheme of life, it's a nothingness, but we can get caught up in sort of material life, I guess, isn't it? Which yeah, it's something to be mindful of. One of the things that you touched on a bit earlier was really about identity and knowing where people are, and I know one of your things was about what it's really about women in midlife. I think that you would perhaps looking to work with. So,
Right.
do you feel that midlife is more of a time to effectively take a journey in and start the self development work?
Yes, I think that once you reach midlife, depending on your situation,
Mm,
you can change your life trajectory.
mhm,
And you can really work on yourself. And if you are a widow or a divorcee, you
mhm,
can change the people around you, change what's going on inside of you, and really work on, mastering your mindset. That's
Mhm.
what I like to say. I want to help people to master their mindset and decide what it is that, really makes you happy in your life.
Mhm.
And and go from there. You can discover a whole new hobby, a whole new life.
Mm.
And just, be by yourself and go really deep within and ask yourself the deep questions and be like,
Mhm.
yeah, this is really what I want to do. And you totally reinvent yourself from like 50 to 55 and stuff. I know
Mhm.
pretty soon there's going to be such a big difference in me. People are going to be like, I've known you for 40 years and people that I've known from high school
Mm.
have told me I never would have believed that you would be like live on podcasts and writing ebooks and being asked to speak and stuff because I'm
Mhm.
such a shy bookworm. I could sit in the corner and read a book and that's it. I'm done. I'm lost. I'm not paying any attention to anything on around me because I'm so involved in the book. And
Mhm.
I'm trying to step out of my comfort zone and do this. I've been in a couple magazines and stuff like that. So it's like, man, I'm doing this stuff all while being homeless.
Yeah.
So what's anybody else's excuse? And can you imagine once I get everything set up and going together that I'm not dealing with all this crazy stuff, how much more I could do and how much I could explode myself and my business. I've
Mm.
traveled to England before. I have plans on going there again next year. I don't have a set plan when I want to go, but
Mhm.
I want to. There's so many people over there that I know that I want to meet. I'll be travel hopping through all all of the UK, next year and going through the whole United States. It's like, wow, several years ago, I never would have thought that I would have, I visited the UK already. I met several friends in 2019,
Yeah.
and I'm ready to do it again. So it's
Mm.
like let's get this rocking and rolling.
Yeah, and let's make this happen. Yeah, and there is a lot. I mean, from an entrepreneur point of view, there are a lot of people who do get stuck with things like visibility. Like you say, wouldn't dream of going on podcasts or coming on and doing a live with a practically a stranger. Like I say, we have had connection, but we
Yeah,
don't talk regularly.
yeah,
And that again all comes down to mindset, doesn't it? Everything that we do really comes from our thoughts and then into our feelings. So yeah, kudos to
yeah,
anybody who becomes an entrepreneur. I think you don't
yeah,
sometimes don't realize the journey until you're in it, but again, it is the journey that whatever it is that you're doing. Like I say, I feel like I came into my own, found my purpose through weight loss. I'm
right,
kind of finding it again through entrepreneurship, and so I think, like you say, that journey, every single one of us has got a unique journey, isn't it? And then it gives us a story to tell,
right.
skills and experience that we gain from it, that that then we can take on into our next projects and our next passions.
Right. Sometimes when you're on that journey, it's like you're swimming and there's an island and you can see you're coming to the island.
Yeah,
And then
the
finally
bank
it's
of
like
sharks.
stand up and the water is only up to your ankles and you turn around, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I swam that far. I went up all those stairs. You're going up a
Yeah.
mountain and stuff. And it's like,
Hmm.
give yourself credit. Give yourself
Hmm.
a pat on the back. And people don't do that often enough.
No.
And I try to, when I see people doing different things on Facebook, congratulate them on getting a job promotion, starting their business. They announced they're pregnant. They got engaged.
Hmm.
Even if they got divorced, too, sometimes that's a big plus because now they're going into a different relationship, so they
Hmm.
know that stuff wasn't good, but now they're making changes and stuff. So sometimes just congratulate people and just let them know that you see what's going on and you're proud of them because people do appreciate that. You don't know who's watching. They're not saying anything, but they're
Hmm.
watching your journey and they're like, "Oh, that's really cool."
Yeah, and also as well, sometimes it's not also easy for people to either see that congratulations, or actually to feel that congratulations. So what I mean by that is, I certainly know that, again, I used to be somebody, if somebody complimented me, I would have been very much somebody who would have, like somebody says, oh, your hair looks nice. I go, oh, well, I washed it this morning. That kind
Yeah,
of that kind
you
of
know.
thing. Whereas now I'm like, oh, thanks.
Yeah, it's hard
Whereas,
to accept compliments, and I'm not sure why it's
yeah,
so hard to accept.
yeah.
Somebody says you did a good job, thank you very much, and go on, and don't be because I kind of call it like you're taking the piss out of yourself.
Mm,
If somebody gives you a good compliment, you just kind of slough it off.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
somebody says you did a good job, don't say, "Oh, well, I didn't," and it's like, "Thank you very much, I do appreciate that,"
Yeah, you just say
and go
thank
on to the next one,
you.
and
Yeah,
just don't make it seem like you didn't do anything really good. Somebody's taking the time to compliment you, thank
yeah.
you very much, and don't, "Oh, I did a lot of that," so just, appreciate that somebody did that
Mhm.
and acknowledge it and put that in your book of good books. And
Yeah.
I help people with journaling and doing meditation and stuff, and
Mhm.
journal every day. What are your goals for the day? And
Mhm.
at the end of the day, how did your day go? Did you
Yeah.
did you talk to the people you wanted to talk to? Did you achieve your goals? How do you feel when you wake up in the morning? How did you sleep last night? Do you remember your dreams? I don't always remember my dreams, but I remembered a couple dreams I had recently that I was in part of a challenge for, and I posted about that in the group, and and we got to really kind of dissect the dream and what it meant. And I was like, wow, I got kind of emotional, but it was a good emotional. So it's
Mm.
like, hey, if you don't always remember your dream, but you remember one that ends up being something good, then that's a plus in my book and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So appreciate the journey and appreciate all the stuff that you're going through to get
Yeah.
to a better place.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, every everything that happens to us, it is that opportunity to just explore that, isn't it? Even something like taking a compliment. I didn't used to take a compliment because my self-esteem was so low, and we're taught like not to be big-headed, not to be boastful, and all these kinds of things, whereas actually it's not big-headed or boastful to accept a comment that's freely given to you. So there's all sorts of work around that, isn't it? I also, like I say, I think really that setting of daily intentions, it's something that I find that my day goes completely differently if I set intentions versus I don't. And part of my membership and my plan for my ladies is to set realistic intentions with regards to food, because then it's more likely to happen if you set those intentions. And then, like you say, do an assessment at the end of the day and make sure that you're doing it from love. So what can you learn with loving
Yeah.
curiosity rather than judgment and beating yourself up about all the things that you didn't do? And I know that you'll be the same. It would be about, like you say, seeing all the things that you did do rather than all the things you didn't do.
Right. Set your intentions, and like if you're going to a lot of Christmas parties, if you only want to eat certain things, that's fine, in advance. I tell people, like if they go to a new buffet, don't
Mhm,
just grab a plate and start grabbing.
mm,
Get a plate, but go around the whole buffet and see what they have. If they have
mhm,
something there that you don't normally eat, you don't need to be, spending a lot of money at a buffet to get, macaroni and cheese and mashed potatoes if you can eat that at home on a regular basis, you know. So, you need to be a little bit more intentional with stuff. And sometimes you got to stop, take a deep breath, take a step back.
mm,
And just, that's one of the, in my 5x5 Filament to Rock Solid Day,
mhm,
one of my activities is deep breathing into the
mhm,
nose, hold it out through the mouth, and just sometimes you have to stop, take a
mhm,
breath, put your shoulders down, and relax. And I've learned to try to visibly relax them. Always like so tense and
mhm.
stuff. Just relax. You're
Yeah,
gonna feel better. Take 30 seconds to 1 minute, and you're gonna be okay, and it's
yeah,
fine. So just, and you can tell as I was talking how I just kind of my kind of slowed down, and you could tell that I was getting relaxed because I sometimes I'm so tense and ready to go. So it's like, all right, you're good. You're good. Everybody here is your friend. Nobody's judging you. You're fine.
yeah. And it is one of those things where I think I think sometimes people can think that self-development is something that takes a lot of time, and
Yeah.
actually it isn't, is it? Something like you say, just concentrating on your breath just for a minute, just building in a pause, because we have a tendency to just rush round,
Yeah.
not really thinking, letting our subconscious control what it is that we're doing on a day-to-day basis without actively thinking, without putting ourselves in the driving seat effectively of our own lives. And that to me is what self-development is actually all about. It's not necessarily just about learning new things. It's about being intentional. And certainly my biggest thing really is I want to live an intentional life. I want
Yeah.
to I want to be in control and taking full ownership of my life. And like you say, saying, well, what is it that I want, and how do I go and get that, rather than just seeing what happens and just
Right.
doing the
You need to, don't just wake up every day. "Ah, whatever happens, happens." You gotta take control of the reins and figure out what you want to do with your life.
yeah.
2024 is a week and a half away, and what are your goals?
Mhm.
What do you need to do to reach those goals? Have long-term goals, and then
Mhm.
break that down into shorter-term goals. Well, what do you need to do? Is there a certain amount of income you need to make? Well, then how many clients do you need to get that income? What do you need to do to get the clients? And sometimes you got to go back, 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 and back a long ways, and then
Mhm.
start back all over again. But once you start living in a more intentional life and being around the people you want to be around, people are going to pull you up,
Yeah.
and not the people that are crabs are going to pull you back. And you shouldn't do that. Don't do that. Why are you doing that? It's like, this is something that I want to do. As long as it's not illegal, immoral, or unethical,
Mhm.
let me do it. And just I'll do it, and if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work, and if it works great, then it works great, and I don't ever want to have the regret. What if I would have done this? What if I would
Yeah.
not have reached out to this person to, be on their podcast and have a chapter in their book, to be a speaker at their summit? If I
Mhm.
didn't reach out, the answer is always going to be no, and the
Yeah.
answer could be no if I reach out. But the more no's you get, the more yeses you're going to get. So then you'll
Mhm.
live and learn what works the best for other people.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You definitely don't get if you don't ask, isn't it? If nobody knows that you're there, you can't be expected for people to to come to you, or want, need your services if you're entrepreneuring or whatever it might
Right.
be. So, if you could give one tip for somebody who was perhaps just thinking about stepping up their self development game, and working on their mindset so that they could become more rock solid, where would you encourage them to start?
I would encourage them to just think about what has worked in their life and what hasn't worked, and what their goals are. What kind of help do they need to get to those goals?
Mhm.
Because, you can do this all day long for other people, but sometimes you need help to help you assess that. So talk to a professional, and they can
Mhm.
ask you the right questions to pull the right stuff out of you.
Mhm.
And just, basically, what are your goals and what is your why?
Yeah.
Sometimes I act like a 2-year-old. What is your why? And keep going and keep digging deep. Why do
Mhm.
you want to do this? Why do you want to do this? What's the ultimate end goal? So
Mm.
just really think about your why. Is what you're doing now helping you
Mhm.
to achieve your goals? Are the people around you helping you to achieve your goals? If not, you get different people around you. That's what I'm doing now. I'm calling through friends. I'm calling through groups. I'm just saying, hey, if I gotta tear everything down and build it all back up, that's what I'm gonna do.
Mhm.
And I want people around me who are going to encourage and motivate me. And I want to be an encourager and a motivator, to others. That's for sure.
Yeah, beautiful. And yeah, like you say, sometimes, yeah, you can certainly try and do the work yourself. I mean, that is why it's called self-development, but actually it is always so much easier with somebody else. Like you say, we hold mirrors up effectively, don't we, as coaches, and then hold people's tootsies to the fire as well if they need it. So I understand that you've got a little gift that you're going to share with the listeners.
Oh yes. If you private message me the words rock solid,
Mhm.
I will email you, and I need your email address too. I will email you my 5x5 formula to a rock solid day. And that's
Mhm.
5 activities that can be done from 1 to 5 minutes in the morning to start your day off rock solid. They include meditation, journaling, deep breathing, grounding yourself, and gratitude. So email me the words, private message me the word rock solid with the email address, and I will email that to you. And then if you want to jump on a 30-minute call so I can go over each one individually, we can do that too. Whichever one you want. You can get both, you can get one, whichever one you want to do.
Okie dokie. Alrighty. Well, I'm conscious of time, so for anybody who's watching live today, it's 9 o'clock over here. So I'm gonna say that we're gonna love you and leave you for now, Bonnie. It's been a pleasure having you along to have a knit and natter with us. Thank you very much, and I'm sure that I'll make sure that there's a link to how they can actually message you as well to grab the goodies from you as well. So other than that, so we will love you and leave you for now until next week. So bye for now, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget, if you want to boost your life and weight loss the AAA way, check out the relevant links for today's show in the description. Speak soon.